Hello and welcome to the Drama Club. On this week's episode, we talk about the Free Britney movement, and then May tells the story of Roman Polanski. It's an intense one, so if you gotta take a break, just hit that pause button.
What up, fam? It's good, y'all. Feels good, right? Yeah, I know it do. And without further ado, we broadcasting live from CA to NY.
What's up with these people still commenting on Farrah Abraham?
They are?
Yeah.
I haven't. On what? On Instagram?
On Instagram, yeah.
Let's laugh about how Farrah was just begging to get back on Teen Mom because she is broke as F and doesn't have any businesses or income besides social media crap. But they hired that girl Jade or whatever her name is for Teen Mom to replace Janelle. Ha ha ha. No one wants Ferret back on Teen Mom. Why are you mad, girl?
Yeah, but the person today that wrote like you're a piece
Eat
of shit,
shit
or something, or eat
Oh,
shit, yeah.
damn.
Yep.
Why?
I don't know. People
Why,
are fucking
Slay?
pressed about other
This
people's
person
lives.
has like no posts, no followers, and is following 11 people.
Is one of them Farrah?
Get the fuck out. I don't know if I could see it. I'm gonna tell this fool get the fuck out.
Who, the one who was like eat shit?
Yeah, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Actually, NT Lawyer had a reveal yesterday that was exactly that, saying that Farrah is begging to get back on the show because none of her businesses have panned out
Oh no.
and she's low on money.
Well, didn't she get like a shit ton for the gig at the strip club though?
Yeah, but that's probably come and gone.
Yeah, that's true. That moment is over.
Yeah. NT Lawyer said something crazy yesterday that Reese Witherspoon doesn't like Nicole Kidman. And so they're doing separate press for Big Little Lies.
I believe it.
That's wild.
I believe it because Reese Witherspoon seems very type A and like, she's like, I'm the producer, sort of like she's about her business, and I get that, and that's probably great, but it seems like she would butt heads with someone like Nicole, who is very serious about her craft also,
Right.
Yeah, I see that happening.
Yeah.
Nicole just seems so serious. I don't see her getting along with someone like Reese Witherspoon.
Who's all bubbly and shit.
Yeah.
Take it down, Reese.
I'm surprised there's not more drama coming out of that set.
Yeah, considering all the power women involved.
Yeah.
Especially considering like Zoe and Nicole. I always wonder like how that would be because Nicole is so serious.
Yeah, but it seems like she was there for a very formative part of Zoe's life. So I think that they have like a soft spot for each other.
Probably.
That would have been an ultimate power couple though. I don't know. She's tripping. Nicole needs to leave her Guy Lights ass husband and get back with Lenny Kravitz.
Yep. I'm trying to look at all the NT reveals yesterday. They were pretty wild. Oh, he's saying that Julie Chen Moonves wants to come back to the talk. Did you see that?
No, interesting.
She's like having her people talk to them to go try to move back in. Like nothing ever fucking happened.
Guess what, guys? Forget about that thing that my husband did and me like fucking defending him.
I'm just Julie Chen again. What's good?
That's funny because I was just thinking about her because I will forever think that as much as I dislike that whole situation, that's a boss ass move.
Oh, that shit was so boss.
Like, do that for your mans that you need to be ride or die for, Like,
yeah.
That was tight.
They're also saying that Angelina Jolie and Nicholas Hoult are like macking.
Who that?
He used to be with Jennifer Lawrence. He's in something.
Oh, is he her ex-fiance?
Yes. He's in. Oh, he was in The Favorite? I don't remember that.
Nicholas Hoult.
He's in this Netflix movie that I hated but watched.
Oh, that guy. He's cute. She's macking on that guy?
That's what they say.
How old is this guy?
He's a baby.
Is he the baby from About a Boy? Is he the boy from About a Boy?
I think he is.
Oh my God. Angelina. Angelina's real intense. Like, I don't think she needs to be fucking with these little boys, you know?
Oh, he was in X-Men. That's right. I was like, I know he's in a franchise. I just don't remember.
Oh, I think he might be the boy from About a Boy.
I'm sure he is. I think he is. He looks just like him.
Oh my God.
Oh, he definitely is, man.
Girl, no.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Who would you like to see Angelina with?
Nobody. I don't really care for Angelina Jolie so much, so I don't really care who she fucking.
Okay, Angelina and Lenny Kravitz might be a good mix. He might give her some moon rocks, like settle her shit down a little bit.
Hold this crystal, bitch. We're gonna calm your ass down.
They would have some crazy sex. That would be a good couple. She'd probably move to Brazil.
Who's in Brazil, Lenny?
Yeah.
Oh.
His Brazilian house was just an Architectural Digest, and it's
cute.
It's Brazilian as fuck.
Fuck Architectural Digest.
We used to get it when I was a kid. We had so fucking many of them. So many.
Yeah, they're great, but you don't need because they're kind of magazines that you hold on to.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can always go back and look at them.
But then you accumulate all this shit.
And then next thing you know, you're a hoarder.
Yep. That's how hoarding starts. It all starts with the fucking subscription to Architectural Digest.
Hey, did you see the trailer for the Judy Garland movie came out today?
No.
Okay, I have thoughts. Look at it.
Oh, is that really her singing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thought.
I'm so focused on trying to hear her singing, I'm not paying attention to the video.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of spinning in this shit. Okay. Oh, man. Renee Zellweger. She sounds like when Fergie did the national anthem. And the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true.
I didn't see any Liza in it.
No.
Not at first glance anyway. That might be something they're waiting to reveal or whatever. Huh. But okay, this is my issue. She looks great. I like the way it looks. But you have someone with the voice of a generation, like an iconic voice.
Yeah.
You either get someone who can do the fucking voice,
right, or no one at all,
or use her voice, or use her actual voice.
Yeah, that's literally like forever. I didn't even know what the fuck Judy Garland looked like, just what she sounds like.
Yeah.
Because I always think of Wizard of Oz, but then it doesn't look like her because there's so much shit on her.
Yeah.
So like that's not really her, you know?
Yeah. But I'm kind of furious about the fact that she's actually singing.
Zooey Deschanel does a better voice than Renee Zellweger.
Oh, I like Zooey Deschanel's music though, so I'm biased.
No, but she does a good Judy Garland impression.
Oh, she does?
Have you heard it?
No.
Yeah, she did it on New Girl.
Yeah, but that infuriated me. Like I was like, "Ooh, this would maybe be good if they just used Judy's voice."
Yeah. Why not?
But I saw like there were some things that caught my eye. Did you see that there were like pill bottles in it? There was some throwing of vases, and I'm like, okay, all right, pill bottles,
spinning,
throwing of vases, spinning. That's Judy.
A couple of leg shimmies in there, and we got it, guys.
You've got yourself a picture.
This is it.
London. Two top film folk got spliced and the press and public turned out in force. He's Polish-born director Roman Polanski. She's American actress Sharon Tate. And the huge public interest their wedding created shows that the magic of motion pictures is as strong today as ever.
All right, guys, so welcome to the Drama Club. My name is May.
And my name is Stephanie. What's good? This is our full episode.
Yup. This is the podcast in which we give you lots of scandals and drama.
Yup. Celebrity biographies.
Yep. We talk shit on
movies coming out.
Trailers. Yeah. So, okay, I got a little hot topic that I wanted to bring up with you.
Yeah, I don't really know what the development. I never know shit. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so shit.
I did see a video that somebody posted of her talking. I think Stephanie tweeted it at us.
Yeah. So shit is going down in the hashtag Free Britney movement.
Right.
So, like you said, Britney put out a video saying that she was okay. But
where she looked, her eyes are all sunken.
Where she looked very much not okay.
Why doesn't somebody fix her hair? Like, her hair always looks like greasy, like dreadlocks, but that's not the look she's going for.
Because she's country.
Yeah. Wash your hair, guys.
Get some dry
Fuck that.
shampoo at least. Somebody
Yeah,
get Britney.
fuck.
Hashtag get Britney some dry shampoo.
Just get her some fucking talcum powder at this point. Shit, anything will do.
So the tea is, I think TMZ reported this. I don't know if NT has said anything about it yet, but things are not going well for her at the facility where she's at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can't figure out the right combo of meds. So she's kind of spiraling, which is terrifying.
Yeah. And her dad is okay, right?
Yeah, her dad seems like he's okay.
Huh.
So now her mom has filed a legal motion to not to remove the conservatorship from Britney or to have it change hands away from her father, but she wants to have a say because she sees that things are going poorly for Britney, and she's like, "Oh no, somebody needs to do something."
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, but I'm even more worried than I was before. So,
Yeah,
oh,
that's really scary. Hopefully. Why? So she's in treatment, but she can go home and stuff?
she's in treatment, but she can leave for supervised. Like, she went shopping the other day, and she looked a
Right.
mess. Like, if you saw the pictures of her, she looked
Yes.
bad.
Yeah.
So, whew. And
Yeah, that's scary.
I think she can also go see her kids.
Yeah, you know what I will say is I think Kevin Federline is actually a good dad.
That's what NT says.
Yeah, I think he's always with his kids, and you see him, like,
Yeah.
really taking care of them. He's
But-
not like absentee or anything like that.
But you don't really see him with his other kids, though,
Yeah.
because he has like 13.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe the other ones, you do kind of have to step it up if like the mom is going through something, So
Right.
I assume maybe he has to be there for those kids more than for his other kids. But
Right.
so yeah, keep an eye on
Britney in our prayers.
Britney, guys.
Cutting the cake was the big scene of the day, and Roman and Sharon had top billing. The bride will keep working. Hubby says he wants a hippie, not a housewife.
What you got today, May?
All right, this is a real fucking one.
Yeah, this is a real one.
This is a real one. Today I'm gonna do Roman Polanski.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
This one took a lot of research. So for this, I rewatched the documentaries Roman Polanski Wanted and Desired and its follow-up, Roman Polanski Odd Man Out, both directed by Marina Zenovich. And let me tell you, Marina has quite the agenda with these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first one won 2 out of the 5 Emmys it was nominated for, and also won a handful of other prestigious awards. But my favorite recognition that this film earned was being placed as one of the 10 films in the Hall of Shame of the Women Film Critics Circle Awards.
Oh, wow.
It is absolutely shocking to me that these movies were made by a woman, but more on this later. But I also got a lot of this from my favorite podcast, You Must Remember This, by Karina Longworth, who cites Roman's autobiography as her primary source. This story is kind of disturbing, so trigger warning, guys. All right, so Roman Polanski was born on August 18th, 1933. He is 85. I imagine he's going to die soon, so I kind of want to get a jump on this story. And he was born in Paris to Polish Jewish parents. His family moved to Poland when he was 4 years old, and just 2 years later, Poland was invaded by Nazis during World War II.
Wow.
The Polanskis were then forced to live in the Krakow ghetto, and his mother was eventually shipped off to Auschwitz, where she was murdered soon after arriving.
Oh, my God.
His father was sent to a different concentration camp, Mauthausen, where he luckily survived. Roman then spent most of his childhood hiding out in the ghetto, and he was taken in by Catholic families. So he spent his adolescence passing for Catholic, basically. It worked out pretty okay, except for, he would go to church and stuff. But like one day a priest or something asked him something really basic and he didn't know the answer to it. Like he responded with something Jewish. And
He was like the Father, the Son, and he was like,
and the Torah. So like there was always a danger and always that sort of, I guess, not monkey on his shoulder, but something that was following him throughout his adolescence, where he was scared that he was going to get found out and he was going to be shipped away or killed like his mother or disappear like his father.
Yeah.
He eventually reunited with his father after the war and they had an okay relationship. I think like the time and the distance and everything that had happened did create sort of like a problem between them, but at the end of the day, they were fine.
Right.
Roman had an early fascination with cinema. He was obsessed with it as a kid. Whenever he had more than a couple, I guess like nickels or whatever in his pocket back then, he would always go to see a movie at the local movie houses. He eventually ended up going to the Polish National Film School, where he made a name for himself with his short autobiographical films. There was one that he made that was like his real sort of coming out story in film school, or like right after film school. It was called Rower, and it was in 1955.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been lost, like no one knows where it is, but the story is about a real life altercation that happened between Roman and this like violent felon.
Oh, wow.
The felon tried to sell Roman a bicycle. Like it was like some OG Craigslist scam shit. And when Roman got there, he beat the shit out of him, like literally fractured his skull.
Who beat the shit out of who?
The felon beat the shit out of
okay.
Roman, fractured his skull, and stole his money.
Jesus.
The guy, the felon, he was later executed for 3 murders.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So anyway, he did sort of make this name for himself in film school, and he eventually graduated in 1959.
What kind of bike was he selling, though?
It must have been the height of Polish bike technology in the 50s.
Right? Right?
So
did it have a bell? Did it have a light?
I think it has to have a bell. I don't think that the bikes had lights.
Damn.
If it's a light, then it's basically a motorcycle at that point.
That's true, though.
No. So in 1959, right after film school, he married and divorced within a year this Polish actress, Barbara Kwiatkowska-Las.
Ooh.
And he spent the early 1960s making critically acclaimed art films like his feature film debut, Knife in the Water, which is amazing. Everyone go see that if you can. Repulsion from 1965 with Catherine Deneuve, one of the baddest bitches ever to grace the screen. I actually just watched that movie for the first time like a couple weeks ago. It's not that great though. Then he made this film Cul-de-sac, which that really put him on the map because now he's sort of like 3 for 3 with his feature films. So
right
now he's like,
and he's young and
right. He's this like young genius is what people are throwing. They're throwing around the word genius already.
Right.
So then
they're definitely watching to see what he does next.
Yes, for sure. So then his next movie is called The Fearless Vampire Killers. And this was in 1967. And in this movie, this is where he meets his leading lady,
Yay.
Sharon Tate. So Roman says that his sexual connection to Sharon was off the chain, and that that's really what brought the two of them together. He also liked the person that he was when he was with her, so he thought, oh, she's good for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for me to settle down a little and have a main chick, and I guess Sharon is the right kind of girl to do this with.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm good for her in a lot of ways because I can make her happy, and her career is probably about to get to the next level after this. And with me in her corner as her collaborator, maybe it could really take off.
Right.
Basically, he was exhibiting classic fuckboy behavior because he was like, we a good match, I guess. We can make it Instagram official if you want. Plus, he was super proud to show this great beauty off as his girl. So
Right.
he
I
decided to
love
like
that shit.
lock her down. And also, I think that Roman has a chip on his shoulder because, like, he's like real small. I want to say he's like 5'1" or like 5'2".
He's tiny.
Yeah. So, you know, as much as people did call him a genius and stuff, they would also make fun of him. They would call him, oh, the little Polish troll and stuff.
Yeah, he
And
do look like a little troll.
so I think that a lot of him getting with Sharon was like, oh, look at this bad bitch that I could get, you know? And also, he was a ladies' man. He was like getting girls
Sharon
left and
loved
right.
him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so they make the film Fearless Vampire Killers together. And by the time it's released sometime later, the studio ends up really taking it in a direction that was way different from what Roman had in mind.
Right.
So he's really heartbroken as an artist, and also because he really wanted to showcase Sharon in this.
Right. And people didn't like her in it.
Right. He later ends
People
up...
didn't like her in shit.
That's true. So...
Yeah.
He later ends up disavowing that version of the movie completely. But in the meantime, he's kind of like, all right, I need to change the scenery. I need to change of pace, when he's introduced to an advanced copy of the novel Rosemary's Baby. And he's like, yes, I can work with this. So he strikes
I was
a deal.
just thinking about Rosemary's Baby this week because I went to go see this house and it was all old and I was like scared. And I was telling Joel, no, I won't. No.
You can't live in a haunted house.
It was scary. Like, it was so old, you know, when like the ceilings are low.
Yeah.
And it's like dark and
Yeah.
it was hardwood floors and they creaked. And I was
Oh,
like, fuck this.
I could live in a haunted house for sure.
I was like, get me out of here. Roman Polanski's gonna come fuck in this house.
Every single squeak that the floor would make, you would like reach for a knife. It's like low-key dangerous for you. It's dangerous for like everyone involved.
Yeah, for sure. Don't visit my ass in a house like that.
Dangerous
I'm gonna kill you.
Dangerous for the squeaks.
Yeah.
All right. So he's like, yes, I could work with this. So he strikes a deal with Paramount to make the film. So now he's going to Hollywood, baby.
Yep.
So he and Sharon moved to LA while he worked on the script for Rosemary's Baby with plenty of input from Sharon. He loved the idea of Sharon for the role of Rosemary, but he thought it'd be in poor taste to suggest it himself. So he waited and waited, but Paramount didn't even think of her for it.
Of course.
They only had eyes for Mia Farrow, who was kind of like hot at the moment because she was...
Yeah, what had Mia made before Rosemary's Baby?
She was on like a primetime soap opera, Peyton Place.
Oh, okay.
And she was one of the stars of it, so she was like super hot off of that.
And she was dating what's his face?
She was married to Frank Sinatra.
Oh, they were already married? Damn.
Yeah. So they were like...
she's hot.
Yeah, so they were like, yeah, definitely, it's Mia Farrow. And and like at first he was kind of like, ugh. Like he didn't really see Mia as the right type for the role because it called for like, oh, the all-American girl sort of thing. So he was like, Sharon, like she's, you know, this beautiful blonde, whatever. She's like the all-American girl.
Yeah.
But,
although I don't want to see Sharon with her hair cut off like that.
Well, that was Mia's choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I don't think that wouldn't be a good look for Sharon.
Nah.
So it worked out though, because as soon as he got to know Mia, he was like, oh my God, like she's gonna be great. And she was great. And the two became fast and close friends.
Yeah, that movie's fucking scary, dude.
That movie's good as fuck.
Ugh. I don't want to think about it.
It's so good. Oh
I
my
don't
God.
even like remember Sarah Jessica Parker and stuff? There was like this whole revival of those old school baby carriers.
Oh yeah.
With like for a while that are kind of like hip. I can't even look at one of those without thinking of Rosemary's Baby. I'm like, fuck
I like
that.
those. I think it's cool when people have those.
Like, yo, baby's a devil.
My baby is definitely haunted ass baby. All right, so where was I? Yeah, so they're close friends. Meanwhile, Roman was constantly having affairs, which really fucked with Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't necessarily flaunt his affairs in her face, but he also didn't particularly go out of his way to hide them.
No, she knew that everything was going down like that.
Right. Basically, his feeling was that she knew what kind of man he was when she married him, which is true.
Right.
So she knew what she was getting herself into.
But Sharon thought that after they got married that he would stop.
Right.
And he didn't.
Right. So Mia talks about being really shook about a conversation that Roman was having with her and John Cassavetes on the set of the movie, because John was talking about how he'd been with his wife Jenna Rollins for like forever at that point, almost 20 years. And Mia was in her feelings because Frank Sinatra had infamously served her with divorce papers on the set because he threw a tantrum after she refused to quit filming early so that she could go make a movie with him.
Right.
Anyway, so Roman is like, I don't know how
Frank
you could...
Sinatra's a fuckboy.
He's a piece of shit for sure.
Yeah.
So Roman's like, I don't know how you could find the same woman attractive after so many years. And Mia was like, what the fuck? Aren't you in
With Sharon Tate?
an it couple? Aren't you like super in love with your fine ass girlfriend?
Also, have you looked at yourself? Like, I don't know how anybody could find you attractive at all, my dude.
Right. So Mia's kind of like calling him out and he just like shrugs it off.
Yeah.
And also, side note, John Cassavetes and Jenna have one of the all-time great Hollywood love stories. And Mia says that John responded to Roman with something really cute. She says that he said, with each passing year, I find something new to fall in love with about my wife.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's
Fuck.
And that bitch Jenna wasn't even on set or anything. That wasn't even for her benefit. That was like, I'm just being real with you. I love my wife.
Aw.
Yeah, they're amazing. Anyway, of course, Rosemary's Baby turned out to be a fucking masterpiece and a huge hit.
Yep,
So...
we're still shook in the year 2019 over that shit, so.
Still scared of baby carriages and shit. Still scared of fucking creaking.
Still scared of fucking Mia Farrow.
Still scared of babies. I will never have a baby because of that shit.
I was just thinking, like, I would not want to get into an argument with Mia Farrow. That bitch is crazy. She was saying some wild shit to you.
Yeah, she is wild. Oh, God. So, just like that, Rosemary's Baby comes out, and Roman was, like, the newest, hottest director in Hollywood. And now people are like, for real, you are a motherfucking genius.
Yeah, because he's already, like, 3 for 3.
Yeah.
And then he makes this movie that's, like, like, imagine if Jordan Peele made, like, another Get Out.
Yeah.
Like, everybody would just be like, oh, my God, he's untouchable.
Right. Oh, people love calling men geniuses, though.
Yeah, they do. Whatever.
So, okay. Meanwhile, our girl Sharon is filming Valley of the Dolls. And
Aww.
this is supposed to be her sort of 1-2 punch along with Fearless Vampire Killers. It's supposed to be like the turning point in her career.
Right.
But the role is making her feel some type of way because she relates to the character a lot because the character in a lot of ways is exploited for her beauty.
Right.
And Sharon has sort of had that dilemma throughout her acting career so far. Like, no one was really taking her seriously because she was so beautiful, and her beauty and sexuality had a lot to do with her landing Roman, who she absolutely loves. But clearly it's not enough because he's out in these streets fucking every girl he can.
Right.
Sharon is kind of having this existential crisis about her career and her marriage and her persona, which all sort of revolve around her beauty and sexuality. So she ends up sort of being like, fuck it. People are going to objectify me. I might as well control the narrative.
Right.
This is around the time she agrees to let Roman give Hugh Hefner some partially nude photos of her to publish in Playboy to promote Fearless Vampire Killers.
Right.
So, you know, Roman was fucking loving this because one of the main reasons he's with her is so he could be like, all right, look.
Yeah, look at my bitch. She bad.
Right. My bitch bad. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he loved showing her off. And he was super pumped when the issue came out and people loved it because everyone was like, ooh, Roman is with like the next it girl.
Right.
Not too long after this, Valley of the Dolls turned out to be a critical failure, but a huge commercial hit.
Uh-huh.
I was just thinking about this because we were at Spitfire Girl and we ran into the copy of Valley of the Dolls.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was thinking that day was funny because we walked into that store and the girl who was running the shop that day kept laughing at us.
Everything we were saying, right?
We were just talking to each other like normal. I was like, damn, if we hadn't had the podcast already that day, I would have been like, we should have a podcast.
Yeah, everything.
All right, anyway. So now, for real, they are the world's coolest couple.
Right.
Hollywood's hottest director and its latest it girl starlet.
Is there someone like that right now?
Ooh. No,
huh?
No. Jennifer Lawrence tried to do it for like 5 seconds with
Darren.
With
Darren
Darren
seems like a
Aronofsky.
fuckboy.
Yeah, he is for sure.
He fucks around a shit ton, right?
Yes, he does.
Aren't there rumors about him? Like anything kind of
Salacious?
Sexually, yes.
Maybe. I think so. I
Huh.
think so, because there's definitely been some stuff on Crazy Days and Nights about him.
He was Auntie was saying that Jennifer Lawrence has had really bad plastic surgery, and that's why we haven't seen much of her in a bit.
Oh.
And then after that, I was thinking about it, and I actually haven't seen much of her in a bit.
Right. Remember when
Yeah.
she was literally everywhere with Amy Schumer for 5 seconds? Like they were
Yes,
they were
man, and
best
she kept
friends.
fucking falling and like shrugging her shoulders and shit.
All right, so they're flying from London to Paris to LA, and they're going to parties every night.
Oh yeah, she's wearing fucking white boots and looking like a goddamn queen.
Yes, they're hanging out with like the sickest people.
Their crew is fucking sick.
Yeah, it's amazing because they talk about how their crew like bridges generations sort of, because they're with like the old school sort of Hollywood, like the big Hollywood stars who want to get close to Roman.
Yeah.
So, and they're also with like the young fucking badass like Jane Fonda and like, you know,
Yeah.
they're with Steve McQueen and
Mhm.
Peter Sellers and Mia
Jim
Farrow and shit.
Morrison.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're sort of like they're bridging the divide between like two generations of Hollywood, but both like the coolest generations of Hollywood.
Right.
Anyway, so they're sort of like a traveling in 1968. They're basically like a traveling Studio 54 before there was a Studio 54. Like
Right.
where they were, that's where you had to be. That was like the coolest spot in the world.
Mhm.
Which low-key kind of sucks for Sharon because it seems like she was more of a homebody. Like that wasn't really her style, but she was kind of like, okay, you know, I need to, first of all, I need to keep an eye on my mans.
Uh-huh.
Second of all, like I love him, and you know, I want to love what he loves. So we're gonna do this whole party lifestyle thing. She also wants to take the next steps with Roman and get married, but Roman made it clear that he wasn't ready. Finally, he broke down one night at dinner and said, "I'm sure you'd like to get married." And when she said yes, he was like, "Let's get married then."
Mhm.
And they threw together a wedding at the Playboy Club, which that's awesome. We talk about it a lot on your episode, Pippin Ain't Easy, which I think that you should definitely go back and listen before we go any further if you haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not gonna super get into the murders because you already did, but
Yeah.
you're gonna feel like something is missing because I'm gonna skip it basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they get married and they both thought that marriage would change him, like you said, but they were both
didn't.
wrong. Yeah.
You can't change a man.
There was one story where he was in Santa Monica, like driving around in his Ferrari, and he pulled his car up to the restaurant where he was going to, and he sees this like baddie walking in from behind, and he starts like yelling at her, like complimenting her ass, but she turns around and it's Sharon and like some of her homegirls. So Sharon was humiliated, like she can't
Of
believe that this
course, yeah.
happened, like in front of people also, like
Yeah.
it was like really shitty. And then Roman also had this habit of filming everything because Abby, he's a director.
Uh-huh.
So he had made some private movies of them together from time to time.
Uh-huh.
And one time Sharon was going through some random tapes and came across what looked like it was going to be one of their private movies, but it turned out to be Roman with another girl fucking in his and Sharon's bed.
Oh no, that's disgusting.
So for Sharon, it was like humiliation after humiliation.
Yeah, something about your marital bed is pretty sacred, man.
It is off limits.
Like, I remember after Dita and Marilyn got divorced, he had this song called Heart-Shaped Glasses.
Yes. And in the
he's
video,
fucking Evan Rachel Wood,
Yeah.
like in their marital bed.
yeah.
And I remember Dita said, like, what kind of sick game is this? Like,
Right.
You know,
I don't know for whose benefit that is.
me either. It's just to hurt Dita.
Yeah. So Sharon's like really going through it at this point.
Right.
But you know who was there for her? Her ex, JC Bring, who
Yay.
we remember from Steph's episode, Pimpin' Ain't Easy. Go back and listen to that episode, like I said, if you want to hear about JC Bring. In February 1969, Terry Melcher and Candace Bergen moved out of their home on Cielo Drive, which just so happened to be Sharon's dream house. And the next month, she and Roman moved in. Not too long after that, while Sharon was in Europe for a role, she found out she was preguetón, which was totally unplanned because she was on the pill. Roman, because of his trauma as a child, in his childhood as a survivor of the Holocaust, he wasn't trying to bring kids into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jay Sebring was so close to Sharon, there was actually a lot of speculation at the time that he was the real father of Sharon's baby.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Douglas, fuck him, repeats this rumor in his autobiography, so people like to point to that and call it a fact. But it doesn't really seem like it's something that Sharon would do because she was so in love with Roman and she wanted to have this family with Roman.
Right. And if she wanted to be with Jay, she could have been with Jay. Jay wanted to marry her way back when.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense that she would be cheating on Roman with Jay.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people said, like a lot of their friends at the time said that they got the sense from Jay that he was sort of waiting around just to see like if things would not work out with Roman.
Uh-huh.
So that he could kind of like
Swoop in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, by the summer, Sharon was done with her movie, pregnant as fuck, 8 months, I think, and Roman was being a dick about it. He writes in his autobiography that while she was still beautiful, he couldn't wait for her body to just get back to fucking normal because he couldn't/wouldn't make love to her.
Roman Polanski, just a true gentleman through and through, man.
A prince.
I mean, why wouldn't you defend him, right? Angelica Houston, like clearly this is somebody we want to be on his side.
Oh, God. All right. Anyway, this made, obviously, Sharon really, really sad.
Yeah. Plus she's fucking pregnant.
Yeah.
So
So,
hormonal and shit.
yeah. And I'm sure that it's already like things that she thinks about her own body. And she's like,
yeah, don't nobody want to be pregnant.
right. And she's like, you know, this man who has made it clear that one of the only reasons that we're together is because he finds me so sexually attractive, doesn't find me sexually attractive anymore.
Yeah, so
Like,
now what?
Yeah, so it's like killing her. Ooh, and that's not take that back. He's
Yeah.
like, it's not killing her, but it's
Hurting her.
it's
yeah.
hurting her. Okay. So she leaves Roman to his work in London so she can go back home to LA and get ready to have the baby. The plan was for Roman to catch up with her soon, but Roman A did actually need to work. And B was over her being pregnant and everything that went along with it, so he wanted to get it in with some girls before he went back to LA. Of course, this would be the last time that he would see Sharon alive. Back home in LA, Sharon was miserable because she found out that Roman was having an affair with one of her closest friends, Michelle Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas. Dude, the level of drama that surrounds the Mamas and the Papas is insane.
That's crazy, actually.
Early on, I know that we did a quickie about the legend of Mama Cass dying with the ham sandwich.
Yeah.
And I know that we have the incest thing on our list.
Yes.
But
yes.
seriously,
I want to read that book. I should read it.
Oh, you should read it.
Yeah.
Just like it really clicked when I read this. Like, damn, the Mamas and the Papas. Like, there was a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was one thing to be sticking his dick in randos on the streets of Santa Monica. It was another thing to fuck her homegirl, especially while she was pregnant. So, of course, she was devastated and again cried on Jay's shoulder and sulked around her dream house being pissed at Roman for weeks until she, Jay, and 3 others were brutally murdered at the house on Cielo Drive.
Once again, go listen to Pimpin' Ain't Easy.
Yeah. R.I.P. to all those poor people.
Seriously.
So, after the murders, on the morning of August 10th, 1969, Roman flew out of London back to LA to deal with the aftermath of the murder of his wife Sharon, their unborn child, and their 4 friends. The killers had not been caught yet, so Roman was the prime suspect. The papers had gotten a hold of the story that behind the scenes, Sharon and Roman were having all these problems.
And they were like drug addicts and shit.
Yeah. Plus, he was acting weird since obviously he was destroyed with grief and also on hella drugs, like literally just to be able to function.
They gave him a tranquilizer just to be able to get on the plane, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which that's completely
Awful.
understandable.
Yeah.
I get it.
This is the only part where I really feel like they kind of I humanize Roman, like,
yeah,
you know, because he really does go through something here.
I mean, up until this point, like he's a Holocaust survivor. There's a lot of trauma that goes along with that. I'm sure like his thing with women was just like in some ways related to the trauma that he experienced as a child. Like he just wanted to live life, you know?
Go ahead and do that. Why do you have to drag someone into
Right.
a relationship where
It's true.
they like, why are you doing that to another human? I don't know.
Right.
who clearly doesn't want that. Like, if it was somebody who was cool with that and like was
Yeah.
gonna do her own thing also, then that's one thing.
Exactly.
But I'm sure he wouldn't be fucking cool with that because that's the kind of guy he seems like.
And also around this time, Sharon, when you hear interviews from her, like she's always saying things like, "Oh, I wouldn't be with a man who wants to tie down just like one woman. I want a man who's out there." Like,
Yeah,
it's-
and because Roman wanted her to be like this, like fucking free loving hippie
Yes,
chick, so she tried to
exactly.
put that shit on to make him
Yeah.
happy.
So when you hear those interviews, you hear Roman. Those
Yeah.
are Roman's words coming out of her mouth.
Yeah,
So it kind of sucks because she clearly doesn't want that, you know? So it fucking sucked for her. Anyway, so
R.I.P. Sharon Tate, man.
so people started to whisper that maybe he'd had Sharon murdered. It also didn't help that he had made movies that were either thrillers or straight up horror movies that dealt with themes around death or gruesome murders.
Right.
Not to mention the shit ton of drugs that they found at the house, like you said, the sex tapes
Right.
and sexy pictures, and the rumors that Sharon and Roman would often host orgies at the house, which that probably wasn't fucking true.
Right.
So unfortunately, Roman had to face a lot of scrutiny before his involvement could be ruled out when he took a lie detector test.
Yeah. But I do think that happens to, I mean, they always investigate the person closest to
It's
the people that-
always the person closest.
Yeah. So,
You-
I mean, I do feel for him, but it's not like that was out of the ordinary.
Right. You start there. You definitely start there and work yourself out.
Yeah.
Work your way out. But I think that it is kind of shitty that a lot of it was just like based off of innuendo, though. It was like, oh, you make scary
Right.
movies. You're a Satanist. Like you guys were
Right.
like witches.
It wasn't like he was beating her or any
Yes.
sort of like, yeah, okay, I feel you.
Yeah, it was just the circumstances. Like I think if it would have been, obviously he would have been looked at in any other criminal investigation, but like it was just like, ugh.
It would have been quicker.
Right. All right. So, meanwhile, he didn't want to go back to the house on Cielo Drive, of course.
Yeah.
So, he was staying on the Paramount lot in the dressing room that Julie Andrews had just left behind after filming The Sound of Music.
Shit.
I gotta say, if something traumatic ever happens to me, I can't think of a more soothing place that I would want to be in than some place that Julie Andrews had just left behind. Her dressing room.
Right?
That's
right?
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely put me in there. Bury me in Julie Andrews' dressing room for The Sound of Music. Anyway, so Roman is going crazy, playing detective and trying to find the real killer. He was obsessed. Remember, this happens in August, and it's actually not until like November when the police kind of figure out who it might be. And it's not December till they make an arrest.
Right.
So-
Until there's the next killing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is like, he's obsessed. He suspects everyone. The
Yeah.
police supported him as he wore a wire, questioning all of his friends and associates and sometimes bugging them
Wow.
because he thought it has to have been it for this to be so brutal. There's no way this was random. It had to be somebody close to me. It has
Yeah.
to be somebody that I know. And the police were like, yeah, for that makes sense.
Right.
So he was running around town like taping, but like big time celebrities.
Yeah, like all his closest friends.
Yeah. He suspected that it could be John Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas,
Wow.
who he figured was trying to get back at him for the affair with his wife, Michelle.
Right.
And he kind of became obsessed with this notion. He started following John around. He broke into John's garage and tested his car for blood.
Oh, wow.
He also stole his diary at one point. This was kind of fucked up because John says that he ended up getting like a bunch of parking tickets and his Rolls Royce was impounded.
Uh-huh.
And so he called Roman and was like, hey, I need you to go to my car and like go to my house, get my keys, go to my car and get all my drugs out of the car before the cops find it.
Right.
And so when Roman went into his house, he ended up stealing his diary
Fuck.
and comparing the writing in the diary to like the writing that was left behind in blood at the house.
Wow.
And he became convinced that they were the same.
Oh, that sucks.
He hired a handwriting expert and everything.
Oh, man.
He charged him something like $3,000 and it turned out to be like inconclusive or whatever.
Oh, this is
But-
awful. This is so awful.
It's really shitty. But first of all, I think Roman, like, you should, it's not him. As soon as the guy says like, hey, go to my house, go to my
Right.
car, like, but
But he's so
I
far
mean,
gone. He just like,
yeah,
you're just
yeah.
trying to make sense of like the worst, most tragic thing ever.
Right. He's just
Yeah.
reaching. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So Roman had some glasses also that were found on the scene, and he checked them. The police had them checked for their prescription. And so Roman bought a lens measuring device and started checking all of his friends' prescriptions.
Oh man.
Like your Peter Sellers, he goes to Peter's house and like tests his glasses to try to find a
Wow.
match. Like it's fucking crazy. When Roman's friend Bruce Lee mentioned that he had just lost his glasses, it put Roman on high alert.
Mm-hmm.
And Roman used it as an excuse to offer to buy him new ones as a gift, just to figure out his prescription and compare it to the glasses from the scene. Spoiler alert, it wasn't Bruce Lee. It was the Manson family.
Right.
Within a month of Sharon's death, Roman admits that he started sleeping with girls again. But he says that he felt overcome with guilt whenever he felt any sort of happiness. This went on for years.
Survivor's guilt.
Yeah. And he also, it wasn't only survivor's guilt. He talks about this. He says that he also feels that if he would have been there, he could have stopped it.
Oh, shut up. No, you couldn't.
Roman against Tex. Tex is like a big ass dude.
Yeah, this is like when stupid ass Mark Wahlberg said
Yep.
9/11 wouldn't have went down if he was on that plane.
Ugh.
Please shut up.
Yes. Anyway, by November, the police had figured out who was responsible for the murders, and Roman was able to stop being consumed by his obsession about finding those responsible.
That's good.
So he figured it was a good time to get away. He'd been dragged through the mud by the press before the true identity of the killers were known. So he just wanted to go somewhere where everyone would just leave him alone. This turned out to be practically impossible because he was followed by paparazzi everywhere he went. So he ended up going to the Swiss Alps to try to isolate himself, and spent most of his time hanging out with and fucking high school girls from the local boarding school.
Oh.
He was 37 years old around this time, just FYI.
Oi.
I like at this point, I get that you're grieving and like maybe you just want something uncomplicated. And he talks about this. He was like, these girls didn't want to talk about Manson. They didn't want to like talk about my movies or anything. They just wanted to be with older men, you know, like smoking, drinking, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, it took a while for him to get back to work, especially because he kept getting offered horror movies and he just wasn't in the emotional place to do another one after everything that had happened. So he finally directed an adaptation of Macbeth, moved to a commune for a few years,
Oh.
and then Jack Nicholson called with the script to Chinatown. Roman rightly recognized that somewhere in that rough script was something genius. So he reluctantly moved back to Los Angeles to work on the script and to make the film. The movie became a huge hit, was nominated for several Oscars, and really signaled to the world that Roman was back. The genius was back. So this led to more job offers both in Hollywood and in Europe. While filming in Europe, he started dating the 15-year-old German model and actress Natasha Kinski.
And now he's how old?
Now he's over 40.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. He's over 40. In 1976, Roman was 43.
Jesus.
And he was asked to guest edit the Christmas issue of French Vogue. This was a huge hit, and so when Vogue Homme asked to work with him, he was quick to jump at the chance. That magazine had recently printed some risque, sexy photographs of young girls, really young, like adolescents. So Roman got it into his head that he wanted to do something along those lines. So a friend got him the phone number of an eager mother.
Why?
Because Roman is a predator, and Roman saw this opportunity as an excuse to do what predators do.
Yeah, and veil it as art.
Right.
Yeah.
So a friend got him the phone number of an eager mother who was also a former actress, and of an eager mother of a teenage girl who might be exactly what he was looking for. So Roman went to meet the 13-year-old girl named Samantha Geimer. I'll name her here because she's been really open about her experience and has written about it and done numerous interviews and has really put herself out there. So
Okay.
yeah, we know who she is. So he meets Samantha and her mother and stepfather and makes arrangements to shoot Samantha a few days later. He shoots with Samantha in the valley, sort of in the hills behind her mother's house. And Roman says that he noticed that Samantha had a hickey. And when he asked her about it, she started bragging that she had a little boyfriend.
Okay.
He then goes out of his way to say how comfortable she was taking her top off and posing naked, and says that she wasn't even wearing a bra.
Okay.
But Samantha says that she took her top off because he was in charge, an adult, and he asked her to. Plus, she thought that this was her big shot to become a famous model. And she wasn't wearing a bra because she didn't need to wear a bra yet because she was a fucking child. When I think about this story, like it makes my skin crawl. Like it really fucking kills me because I think about myself at 13. And
I don't even remember myself at 13.
I know that
I think I blocked it. Like, you know how you block moments that are like
dramatic.
Yeah.
I was probably the most mature 13-year-old you could ever think of, but I was still a fucking child. Like,
yeah, of course.
You at 13, have you spoken to a 13-year-old recently? They don't know.
You can't. You
Yes,
can't.
you can't.
Yes.
They're children. They don't know anything about the
I
world.
can't talk to my cousins that are like 17, okay?
Right.
It's like so hard to talk to them because they're so fucking dumb.
At 17 though, it's almost worse because they think that they know stuff.
And that's, yeah, they got
Right.
attitudes and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. At 13, you still know that you're like, oh, okay, like I'm a kid. I don't know anything. You know? Anyway. This is someone who doesn't know anything about the way the world works. Someone who probably still gets a lollipop at her pediatrician. She probably just learned where babies come from in health class 5 minutes ago. She's a fucking baby. Like,
yeah, she might barely have gotten her period.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she said before, she doesn't wear a bra because she doesn't have fucking breasts. Like
seriously.
She's a kid.
Yeah.
So a few weeks later, they had another photo shoot. Samantha's mom said that since they were actually going to another location, like the first time it was just like behind their house. So, you know, she was at the house. She didn't go back there with them. Mm-hmm. So this time they were going to another location. She'd planned to go with them, of course. But when she was getting ready to go, Roman was like, oh, actually, you don't have to come. We're good. And so she stayed home.
Why?
Samantha's mom is actually, she's interviewed in these documentaries, in the first one, actually. And she's like, riddled with guilt. You can see it. She can't say his name, and she says I'm sorry, I can't say his name. And Marina, the director, laughs at her off screen. You hear her laughing, and Samantha's like, I'm sorry. I mean, Samantha's mom is like, I'm sorry, is that ridiculous? Like, I know it's been so much time or whatever, but
fuck that. I wouldn't say his name either.
Right. She just like, oh, it's her. You can tell that she blames herself and like, and Samantha is adult Samantha is very adamant. She's like, my mom didn't know this was going to happen to me.
Of course not. Yeah.
People like to paint her as this like stage mom who was like, fucking go, like do this. But she's like, it's not like that. No one knows how much my mom loves me. I love my mom. And like, this was just a terrible thing that happened.
And this was what, 1970?
1977 at this point, early 1977.
It's like people didn't talk about stuff like this happening too. So it's like maybe she had no idea, you know, or like
that you don't think that this could happen probably.
You don't realize that this does happen probably.
Right.
And so you certainly don't think that it would happen to somebody, your daughter, you know.
And also you think if there's anyone I can trust her with, it's this world famous director, you know?
Right. Like this is a job. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's tragic. Okay. So she stayed home, and Roman says that in the car, Samantha told him that she'd had sex with her boyfriend.
Okay.
They did a little photo shoot by the pool at Jacqueline Bissette's house in the Hollywood Hills. Then, when the sun started to go down, Roman figured he could cross to the other side of Mulholland and shoot on the other side of the hills at his friend Jack Nicholson's house, where there would still be light. Samantha was like, whatever, because she wasn't impressed by Jack Nicholson or Jacqueline Bisset or any of this shit because she was a kid.
Yeah.
So she was literally only into Planet of the Apes at that time, which, oh man, when she said that in the documentary, I was like, oh, I was so into Planet of the Apes at 13 too. By the way, nothing I'm saying here is really in dispute. Both sides agree that these events took place. I guess the only difference in their accounts is what was going on in each of their heads at the time.
Right.
Anyway, so they get to Jack's house and he's not home. So Roman opens the fridge and pops a bottle of champs and
Mhm.
serves himself and Samantha a glass.
Yep, because that's what you do to 13-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. Then they go outside and continue shooting. This is when Roman, in his autobiography, says the most disgusting thing I have ever heard in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
He says, quote, "I could sense a certain erotic tension between us."
What? Between you, a 45-year-old man, and
a
her,
child.
a 13-year-old child.
Erotic tension. That's not what it was, my dude. Like, if you sense anything, it was the tension that she felt being creeped out by this motherfucking creeper.
Yeah.
And you created this eroticism in your own fucking mind because that's what you do to little girls. You did it to Natasha Kinski when she was 15. You
And
did
that's
it to
all
who
you do
knows how
to
many
all
other girls.
girls.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Ugh. All right. Anyway, this one statement told me literally everything I need to know about this. There was no
Yeah.
gray area.
No.
That's fucking it.
You're a predator.
Fucking gross. Okay. Roman then told Samantha to call her mom and let her know that she was going to be late for dinner, and she did. He also spoke to her mom and I guess told her, "Oh, it's chill. We're here at Jack's house or whatever." Then Roman suggested that they take some photos in the jacuzzi. So Samantha psyched herself up to do it because this part was like, oh, I could hear Samantha talks about what ran through her mind, and I could totally imagine this happening. She says that she was like, "This is what I want to do. I want to be a model. This is what models do. I'm a professional. One of the most famous directors in the world wants me to get into the jacuzzi. I'm going to get in the jacuzzi. I'm going to be in Vogue. He's going to make me a star. Let's do this."
Yeah, and then when you remember being like, I just think like even in high school, she's in middle school, okay?
Yeah.
But even in high school, I remember being with people that I want to be friends with, and they do things that are slightly outside of my comfort zone, but I just do it
Right.
anyways.
Yes. Yeah.
And then like, just kind of like muster the courage to
Yes.
go along with it.
Yeah, you psych yourself up.
But you're fucking scared. Like I know
Yeah.
that feeling where you're like fucking scared.
Right. Oh, I wish her mom was there. Oh,
I know.
Okay. All right. So, one more thing. Roman told her she should take a third of a Quaalude to loosen up before she got into the jacuzzi.
Ooh.
And she did.
Ooh.
A fucking
She's teeny
Quaalude.
tiny, right?
She's tiny. She's a
Yeah.
little tiny baby.
Yeah.
So, this is what Bill Cosby used to drug his victims.
Uh-huh.
This is what Leo was on in Wolf of Wall Street when he lost control of all of his extremities.
Uh-huh.
Roman Polanski isolated a child, gave a child champagne and Quaaludes, and then said that he felt erotic tension.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Like, truly, fuck him. This is one of the
Yeah.
worst things that I've heard on the whole time we've done this podcast, and we've heard some terrible things.
Even the jacuzzi scares me because she drank champagne. She's going to get dehydrated. Like,
Exactly.
you get all weak.
Right. So Roman made some sort of excuse to get in the jacuzzi with her.
Uh-huh.
Something about the light being better from that angle.
Uh-huh.
So he got naked and got in with Samantha, and she started getting the vapors, like you said.
Yeah.
The champs, the Quaalude, the heat from the jacuzzi,
Uh-huh.
and also the realization of what was happening.
Right.
It all started to hit her all at once.
Right.
Roman got close to her and started touching her. So she made up an excuse, good for you, Samantha,
Uh-huh.
and said that she had asthma and that the jacuzzi was making it bad and that she needed to go home to take her medicine.
Oh, good.
Roman told her that all she needed to do was go inside, dry off, and lay down for a minute. So she goes inside to one of the bedrooms, and he follows her in a few minutes later and says that they had consensual sex.
Uh-huh.
But obviously he fucking raped her.
Right.
She's A, a child, B, drunk, C, high, and D, a fucking child. Like, nothing else
Yeah.
matters after the first thing.
Dehydrated, tired. Imagine.
Yeah.
This is so awful. And May Angelica Houston walks in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Roman says that while he was having sex with her and raping her,
Mm-hmm.
he could tell that she was experienced.
What?
What a disgusting thing to point out even years later in your autobiography, like presumably you've had time to process this.
Yeah.
You wrote it out. You put
Why
it to
don't you
paper.
just say as little as possible, dude?
Right.
Why don't you just shut your mouth? Just shut up.
He thought it was a good idea to publish this, and he was like presumably thinking
Because
like,
he
oh,
doesn't think he did anything wrong. Because he's a
Yes.
fucking predator.
yes, exactly. Ugh, whatever. He felt like he felt like that little tidbit would, you know, make everyone feel pretty good about the fact that he was having
Yeah.
sex with the child, you know, because
We're all
she's
gonna
experienced.
Yeah.
Whatever. And for the record, Samantha says that when he said that she told him that she had had sex, she said that what she said was that she had had sex once before.
Okay.
Anyway. So once again, fuck Roman. The only concrete thing that differs from Roman and Samantha's account of the events is that Samantha says that in between sex acts, she had told him no multiple times. He doesn't recall that happening.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, they both agree that he asked her if it felt good at one point, and she said yes. A fact which Samantha says was the truth and was obviously very confusing for her.
Of course.
In
and
the moment.
That happens to a lot of rape victims.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
even ejaculate and like orgasm.
Yeah. So while this was going on, Jack's girlfriend, Angelica Houston, came home. So Roman wrapped things up. And no, that was inappropriate.
But we needed it. We were getting real mad and like, this is an angry episode.
So he walks towards the door to, you know, he's like gets dressed and like walks towards the door because Angelica's like knocking on it.
Right.
And he opens the door and he greets Angelica. Samantha says when she heard Angelica's voice in the house, she thought, okay, a woman is here now. I can leave.
Right.
You know what that feels like.
Yeah.
You're a kid and you're just uncomfortable in any situation. You're like, oh, a grown up is here. Like,
Yeah.
you know, even if it's just like you don't want to eat like what your friend's mom cooked you or something, and your mom
Yeah.
shows up and you're like, oh, my mom is here. You know? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. So Roman introduced Angelica to Samantha and says that he figured it was pretty obvious that they had been having sex. Samantha says that she tried to slip past Angelica so that she wouldn't have to talk and could just slip out, like just get out.
Yeah.
But Angelica said hi to her. Samantha says that she was confused because Angelica didn't seem shocked or taken aback at all that there was a kid in her house alone with a man.
Right. Having sex. I would have fucking burnt that house down.
Yes.
Even if it was two adults, I'd been like, where the fuck do you think you are? This is my house.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot do that.
Angelica also like later testifies on behalf of the prosecution, but she was still very she testified to the grand jury on behalf of the prosecution, but she was still very much on Roman's side.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, you could just tell, like she was one of those little girls who like knew what she was doing or something. I was like,
what the hell does that mean?
Here's the thing that Karina Longworth points out in her podcast. She says that maybe this was a normal thing that happened. Maybe not necessarily like she didn't see it with Roman or with like her circle of friends, but men, especially powerful men in Hollywood, took advantage of girls all the time, and it was just the way things were. Like, no, people didn't necessarily think there was anything wrong with it, and maybe Roman getting caught up in this was just the sign that, like, no, this is not okay, and the times are changing, and we're gonna do something about it.
Right.
Anyway, so Roman takes Samantha home, and he hung out with her mom and stepfather for a little bit, smoking a joint he'd found at Jack's house. He started showing them the photos from the previous photo shoot, which, by the way, when you see the photos, it's honestly shocking how young Samantha looks.
Yeah, she's a little girl.
If you would have said she was 9 or 10, I would have been like, oh, yeah.
Yup. She looks like she's posing for Baby Gap.
Yes. Oh, my God. Anyway. So they're all looking at the pictures together, and that's when Samantha's mom saw that there were some topless photos in the mix.
Yeah.
So she internally starts freaking out. And she says that she gave like a silent look over to Samantha's stepdad. And then they both like try to gently get Roman to start making his way out. Like they weren't trying to make a big deal out of it. They were just like, oh my God, you know, like.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Right. So he leaves. He does. So Samantha's mom goes to her room to try to process what she just saw and what to do about it and like how to talk to Samantha about it. When her other daughter, Samantha's older sister, knocks on the door, comes in, and says that she just overheard Samantha on the phone with her boyfriend telling him that Roman had given her shams a quaalude and they'd had sex. So Samantha's mom understandably loses her fucking mind and immediately contacts the police.
Good.
By the next night, Roman was arrested on charges of rape. Samantha had to give testimony to the grand jury, and it was completely humiliating because, of course, they asked her, like, are you experienced? And
Yeah, what were you wearing?
what,
Probably, I'm
right,
sure.
all
Yeah.
this bullshit.
Mm.
Plus, by this time, the European press had found her name and openly published it. So paparazzi from around the world were staked out at her house, following her to and from school and shit. Sounds like a living nightmare. It sounds horrible. So basically,
Right.
she and her mom decided that she wasn't going to testify at the actual trial because it was going to be traumatic.
Right.
Unfortunately, without her testimony, the case wasn't going to be as strong as it could have been. So both the district attorney and Roman's defense team were eager to make a deal. At first, Roman didn't want to make a deal because he thought it was completely consensual, so he didn't think anything he did was wrong.
Right.
But the age of consent in California was 14, so he was automatically going to go down for that regardless. So he agrees to plead guilty to one lesser charge of unlawful sexual intercourse in exchange for dismissing the 4 other charges, including rape, sodomy, and some of the charges relating to giving Samantha drugs and alcohol.
Oh, wow. That's a good ass deal.
It's a fantastic deal.
Yeah.
So this is where things get, but the problem was that even with the unlawful sex charge, I think he was still facing, it was like, there was no like real statute in place. Like he could face no jail time or 5 years in jail or 10 years in jail. Like it was still kind of up in the air. This is where things got weird. Judge Rittenband, the presiding judge, was a total starfucker. He loved attention and he loved high-profile cases. He'd presided over cases involving Cary Grant's paternity, Elvis and Priscilla Presley's divorce, and Marlon Brando's custody suit. Like, he was all up in these cases, and he specifically asked to preside over this one. Well, he was kind of in a pickle because he wanted to give Roman jail time, but he knew that Roman would appeal and appeal and appeal because he had the money to do so.
Yeah, so that's a pain in the ass.
And he might possibly never see the inside of a jail cell. Also, Roman is Polish, and at the time there was this weird thing in America where white people were like really bigoted against Polish people.
Oh, wow.
It was like, they used to be bigoted against like Irish people. It was like that sort of thing. That sort of bigotry always trips me out. Like you're always looking to somebody to look at that's lower than you. So people at the judge's country club would like run up on him in the bathroom and be like, "You're gonna make sure that Polak goes to jail, right?"
Oh, no.
Like it was like super fucked. And this is what Marina Zanovich's documentaries are essentially about. They're about how Roman is actually the real victim here because of judicial misconduct. It's absolutely insane, particularly in hindsight in the Me Too era. And that first documentary was made in 2008, so it wasn't even that long ago. But yeah. So anyway, Judge Rittenband calls the DA and Roman's defense attorney into his chambers and is like, "I'm going to tell you what we're going to do about this. It's going to be a win-win and the press is going to love me. You, defense team, argue that he should get off on parole. You, DA, argue that he needs to go to jail for a year. I'm going to make Roman serve a 90-day psych evaluation at the Chino State Prison. It's not his final sentence, it's just a psych eval, so he can't appeal it. He has to serve all 90 days, then appear before me for final sentencing, at which point I'll say that he's paid his debt to society and he's free to go." Anyway, as you can imagine, all this is unethical and illegal. But both sides are like, all right,
good,
cool, whatevs.
Easy.
So Roman goes away to do his psych eval, but the parole board lets him out after 42 days. And it's sort of getting around that this might be all the time that he's going to end up doing. So everyone, the press, the people are all up in the judge's ass, letting him know that this is a huge miscarriage of justice. So the judge is now in an even more awkward position and might even have to throw the book at him.
Right.
Meanwhile, to buy some time, he grants Roman the right to travel for work in like 60-day increments. So Roman heads to Europe to work on movies and tries to go back to his regular fucking predatory predatory ass life, basically. While he's in Europe, he's photographed with 2 girls sitting on his lap at a party. It's all very provocative. It makes headlines around the world. So now the judge is like, get him back here. He thinks this is a fucking joke. He's taunting us.
Yeah.
Let's solve this now. So he comes back to the States, and the judge tries to make another one of those backdoor deals. He wants Roman to serve only the remainder of the 90
days,
days.
yeah.
Yeah. So he wants him to go back to finish out the psych eval and then turn himself over for deportation proceedings.
Uh-huh.
And then he'd go ahead and say that he'd served his sentence. But he still wants one side to argue for a harsher sentence and the other side to argue that he'd done enough.
Right, so you could go in the middle and that's that. Justice is served.
So at this point, neither side wants to go along with the judge's bullshit anymore because, it's fucking bullshit, right? And they both want to file a complaint. And even the district attorney is like, I will fucking testify. I will do whatever it takes because this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Roman doesn't think that he can even trust this judge anymore because by the time this complaint goes through and everything, he would have already been sentenced.
Right.
So the night before he's to receive his sentence, he hops on a plane to Europe and he never fucking comes back.
What year was this?
This was by this time, so the event had happened in 77. He had gotten some continuances. This is 79 or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
That's 40 years ago. 40 years outside the U.S.
So he lives in France where he holds citizenship. And France's extradition treaty with the U.S. says that they don't have to extradite French citizens if they don't want to.
Right.
And they fucking love him in France.
Of course.
They're like, here's this genius director who was railroaded by the Americans for just
Plus they hate Americans, so.
No, the French love us. Freedom fries.
Nah.
Anyway, so they're he's this genius over there living the life of a genius artist.
Right.
Doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Yep, getting it in, spending his money. We're going to let him party here.
Ugh. Anyway, Samantha later sued Roman in civil court and they reached a settlement in 1993.
Oh, wow.
Samantha also is her situation is weird because she kind of just wants all this to go away. She's like, he made a mistake. He's not a pedophile. He's not a predator.
What?
He's not this. He's not that. She's like, I get where she's coming from. She just kind of wants to put it behind her.
Yeah.
And she's like, all these people are re-victimizing me every time that this shit comes up. Every time I get asked to do an interview,
it's exhausting,
whatever.
Yeah.
I get that, but to not call this man
a predator,
yeah. I think it's to invalidate other girls' experience who have maybe gone through the same shit or worse. So throughout the years, Roman has been accused of essentially the same predatory behavior by now adult women who said that he's done things that are very similar to that when they were young, around Samantha's age or a little bit older.
Uh-huh.
In 2009, Roman was arrested in Switzerland on his way to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Zurich Film Festival after the U.S. ordered him extradited to face his charges. He served 11 months on house arrest while the Swiss tried to decide whether or not to extradite him. They ultimately chose not to, and he returned to France.
Wow.
He also has a very young wife now, and he has 2 young children. Not so young anymore, but at the time they were pretty young when he was on house arrest. So he married Emmanuelle Siegner in 1989, and she's 33 years younger than him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so that lets you know that he never fucking learned his lesson.
Yeah.
In 2018, the Academy voted to expel Roman, and last month he filed a lawsuit in order to try to get them to reinstate his membership.
Oh my
because
gosh.
Mr. Polanski thinks it's unfair. As we know, Roman continues to be lauded in some circles and by some people, like we said, Angelica Houston.
Yeah.
To some extent, Mia Farrow, which I think is
interesting. Really interesting.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And he won an Oscar for his semi-autobiographical film, The Pianist. I think he's one of the people that people point to be like, oh, we should separate the art from the artist. But
why?
How can you separate?
Yeah, and why?
Everything this man has done.
There aren't other artists who are not problematic, or what?
Yeah, exactly. We don't have enough directors out there making great ass movies, great horror movies. Hello, Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Give somebody else a chance. Fuck this fool. He's done.
So basically, Samantha went on to say that she forgave him, not for anything that not for his health, but for her own health. And yeah, and he later during the time that he was on house arrest, he emailed her and like apologized, whatever that apology means, because he still obviously thinks that he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And Samantha, for her role, says, "I get to get over it. I'm sorry." Like, she's kind of like now lashing out at other people. I'm sorry if you're mad that I'm not over it, but I fucking am.
Yeah.
Roman was asked in an interview, "There's a question of you and little girls," and he responded, "I like young women. I think most men do." Much like when a similar question was asked of R. Kelly, this is not a hard question to answer, my dude.
I know.
You should just be like, "No, I don't." Or,
What's the
like,
name of
whatever
that one douchebag? He's always in Entourage. He said something like, "Of course I like 14-year-old girls. Otherwise there wouldn't be laws against it."
Oh, who said
I
that?
don't remember. It's some fucking trash
God.
guy. Yeah.
Oh, anyway, so why would you want to separate the art from that man, from the man who would say that?
Yeah.
Anyway, and that's the story of fucking
Roman
predatory
Polanski.
ass Roman Polanski.
Wah, 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 wah.
Mm,
Oh, good job, May. Good job, though.
thanks. I got into a little hole of seeing people I respect defend him.
I just remembered that when he won for The Pianist, didn't Harrison Ford
Stand up.
and accept the Oscar for him?
Yep, and also Kim Cattrall made a movie with him with the Ewan McGregor movie, the Ghost Writer, I think it was, or something like that.
Oh, I don't know that one. Wow.
And Kim Cattrall was defending him. She's like, "Hasn't he been through enough?"
Oh, Kim Cattrall, sit down.
Ugh, yeah, and just like every once in a while, someone will pop up to defend him, and I'm like, why? Fucking Kate Winslet.
She was in a movie with
She
recently,
was in,
right?
Well, she was in Carnage. I actually really like that movie.
I like Carnage too. Damn
Yeah.
it.
So she was in Carnage, and she of course had to. Jodie Foster is also in that movie.
Ooh.
These are all women who, also, Kate Winslet and Jodie Foster for that matter. Jodie Foster stands by Mel Gibson, but they're friends though.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's just a shitty situation.
Yeah, it's really bad.
That I have to think about everything this man has done.
Seriously. Oh, well, thanks for listening, guys. That was a tough one. Hit us up with your thoughts on Instagram and Twitter at Drama Club Pod. Hit us up on the website, dramaclubpod.com, and at our email, dramaclubpod@gmail.com.
On the hotline, 505-539-0556. At our P.O. Box, P.O. Box number 27433, Los Angeles, California, 90027.
Tune in Monday
for our Afternoon Delight episode.
Bye.
Bye. Say bye, Luca.
However, whatever with your helmet.